Okay, it's time for Ask GMBN, where you send us questions and we, the experts, answer them. So let's get started. I'm going to test you right away, Scott, with a question from SLIPPYSTEELE. I'm getting started with mountain biking. What bike should I buy?
Do you think that's a bike question, as in should he buy a hardtail or a full suspension, or do we give him a bike brand that he should go and buy?
Well, I think the best answer to this question is always about, we've all got a budget.
Yeah.
And I think it's recognised that you're going to get more for your money if you go for a hardtail to start with.
Definitely.
Would that be right? So I think that would generally be what I'd say, although I do love a full sus. So.
Yeah, the other thing about the hardtail is, you know, you can really build those core skills.
Yeah.
Full suspension can make you, I don't want to say lazy, but you know, you can rely on that suspension to really get you through when it's in rough situations.
Learn some bad habits, maybe. Yeah. So I think our answer is going to be, have a look for a hardtail within your budget.
I kind of feel like I need a bell to go ding.
We've done that one well. We've done that well. Okay, Robbie Van Hove, can you buy a trail bike, pump the rear shock very hard and use it for XC? And then when you want to do some downhill, you can let the air out and use the shock.
I mean, definitely you can do that.
Yeah.
But whether you really want to do that, I mean, it's going to require taking a shock pump everywhere you go riding. And I've got to say that most modern bikes are actually designed so they can pedal really well, effectively, and you're not going to get too much bob. So
yeah, gone are the days of the pedal bob. Do you remember? You're like, oh god, the bike bouncing all over the place.
Actually, more remember riding my downhill bike along a flat road, and it wasn't fun.
Draining
fun. You probably don't want to.
I've got a question on that then. Would it be damaging to his pump, to his shock, if he kept pumping it up really hard? Would that be any good for it?
No, it wouldn't really do anything. I don't think. Don't take my word on that 100%, but I don't think it's going to do anything. Just make sure that you're not going over that recommended air pressure volume.
Okay, right. Tom APPELBOAM, can you do a train building series like the one where you did on the episode on building jumps, an episode on berms, etc.?
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot. It's actually the hard thing with this is finding someone who's got land and will give us permission to dig on their land. So if someone out there will allow us to come and dig up your field and build some sweet trails, sign us up.
This is a public announcement. Yeah. Can we have your field, please?
Yeah. Imagine how much fun.
So
dirt jumps, slalom tracks, pump tracks.
So good.
All sorts of stuff.
So good. So in preparation for that, let's take a look at our how to maintain MTB trails video.
Be careful not to start showing up and working on trails that you're not really supposed to be working on. It can be a big nuisance to experienced riders when someone shows up and starts tweaking a trail when they don't really know what they're doing. A good example of that is this really hard section. It's kind of rooty, rocky, off-camber section that is a challenge to ride fast, and someone's shown up and built a berm on the outside to make it much easier. In an ideal world, we would have trails to suit all types of ability, so don't presume that everyone likes the same thing.
Right, next question is from Zaid Abdelmasai. Does bike weight matter when learning how to hop the back wheel? He's having difficulties doing these. Any help, guys?
I'm going to say weight does matter. Heavier bike, you're working against gravity, aren't you? So it's going to be harder. Same with if you've got a heavy body, to actually get higher up, it's going to be much harder. So lighter bike, higher bunny hops.
I'm just going to put a slight caveat on that though, as it doesn't mean it's not possible. So no excuses,
True.
No excuses.
Yeah, definitely.
You're right, okay, Travis Slater, can you fit air spacers to a Fox rear shock? If so, how'd you do it?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes, assuming that he's talking about air volume spacers to make it more progressive for suspension. And we've actually got a video on this, but I'll talk you roughly through how you're going to do that. So you're going to have to take all the air pressure out of your shock. You're then going to have to undo the air sleeve, pop that one that's probably going to be in there already, pop the new one back in, put the air sleeve back on, pump it back up. Hey presto, you're done.
Sounds simple, sounds simple. Lucas Cotting, what grips are the best for enduro? It's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think enduro, is there a special enduro grip? I don't think. You're using the new Ergon ones that you mentioned
we're using Ergon,
in another show.
And I actually really like the GD ones. They are actually just out, so they're brand new.
Okay.
I've been using the prototype ones for the last 6 months. Still in the original pair. They're absolutely awesome. You can get them in thin and thick, and for my hands, they've been working wonders.
Yeah, they sound like a good option. MUKYMOO Davison, how would I tackle jumps, drop-offs with rough landing? Thanks.
That's a hard one.
Yeah,
it
that
depends
is.
how rough the landing is. I mean,
Yeah.
the more suspension your bike has, obviously the easier it's going to be. But it comes down to speed a little bit too, because if you're landing slowly, you're going to feel all those bumps way more than if you just skim across the top of them. It's kind of about being light on the bike and just working with the terrain you
I
have.
think that's the point, being light on the bike. It's really hard to say without seeing the actual drop-off itself, because it might be one that you should just be thinking, no, don't do that. But we can help you, because here's a quick look at our video to how to drop off like a pro, and I think this might help.
So the technique you actually use on that drop off is going to depend on the run out and the size of that drop. Here we're in a really nice spot to practice the manual off a drop because it's not very big. I'll get away with just rolling that if it all goes wrong. So I've spotted my landing and I'm going to try and do enough for manual to match that landing. So by that I mean trying to land 2 wheels at the same time. If you're dropping off into a down slope, landing front wheels first is okay because your front wheels get in there first, but matching the landing is generally the best way of doing it.
Are you ready for the next question? It's from
ready.
ESTEBAN JAURRIETA, and he's saying, can a 140mm fork and rear suspension handle the trails of Whistler?
Yeah, you can definitely, you could ride Whistler on a rigid bike if you wanted.
Do you know what we saw this year? Johan Borelli on a cyclocross bike.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all possible on any bike. There was one guy I saw once who did some stunts on a road bike.
Okay, Christopher KOSCHEL is saying, what can I do to make my freeride bike? He's got a Scott Voltage FR730, more uphill friendly.
Oh,
Now this is like 180mm aluminium kind of park bike, and I'm guessing that it's probably got a single ring up front. I guess the first thing I'm going to say is a dropper post.
A dropper post would make a massive difference.
And then a wide range cassette in the rear to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And then to make it even easier for pedaling, it's not cheap, but you could look at upgrading some components, maybe lighter bars, stems, wheels, tires, go tubeless for example. But we've just got a list of the top 10 upgrades that you should do. So why don't we sit back and have a look at that?
Tyres, they make such a big difference to how your bike rides. You can go from really puncture proof but heavy and grippy downhill tyres to the other end of the spectrum with lightweight fast rolling cross country tyres, or even buying a couple of pairs to suit different conditions. Wheels, they aren't going to be the cheapest upgrade, but just like tyres, they will make a big difference to the ride. Because it's rotating weight, if you've got a heavy set of wheels, that bike might feel a little bit sluggish. A lightweight set of wheels is going to accelerate faster, brake faster, and the bike will feel, all in all, more nimble. However, if you're a heavy rider, you like racing downhill or you do big jumps, you might consider upgrading to stronger wheels. Obviously the payoff is going to be weight. However, heavier wheels will probably plough through rough stuff a little bit better.
It's time for the quick fire round.
Oh, I've almost got the rat, I can see him. No. Okay, sorry, carry on.
Okay, first question. Owen Hund, I live in an extremely rocky and loose area. I use beefy tyres. Should I run the pressure high or low?
This one is all about experimentation. Too hard, you're not going to have grip. Too low, you're going to puncture.
Just got to try it out.
Yeah.
Just got to try it out. Experiment. Mr. Moonboy, can you fill your tyres with helium and make the bike lighter?
We got asked this a few weeks ago,
yeah.
and it's lighter, isn't it?
It is lighter, but it doesn't work.
Oh.
So don't.
Okay.
That was the short answer.
Lighter, but don't work, so no.
Joanne Cruz, but I can't remember why it didn't work. I can't.
Have you tried it?
No, the guy wrote into us and told us.
I think that we should try it.
We'll
It
try
should
it.
be one of those myth busters.
Let's do it. Mythbuster, we're on to it.
Sorry, next question.
Juan Cruz Quirol. If I have a hardtail with 130mm travel in the front, you think it's okay for some downhill and some trails?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, go
Definitely.
for it. Go for it, send it. Pete Neff, should you drain the fluid in your tubeless tyres when the bike will be in storage for an extended period of time?
I was interested in this question, and I couldn't decide quick fire round or not, but I chucked in there, and I'm going to say it probably doesn't matter.
Good answer. Ilya Pavlovskyy, I have a frame with a 34.9mm seat post diameter. Is it a good idea to use seat post shim with the dropper post?
Yeah, you can do.
Yeah, you can get one that fits exactly that size. So go for it. Dropper
idea.
post is a dream. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not me, Scott, but your guest this week.
And this one actually comes from Aaron. He's in Ballyhurst in Ireland, and he says he feels really slow and sluggish, and he's asking, does he need to move around a bit more on the bike? What does he need to do? So
Let's have a look.
should we have a look? Okay, coming in. Looks a nice section, I've got to say, in the leaves.
It's quite a technical trail.
In the forest. It's not berms, so sort of your
No.
trail centre average stuff. You know, it's really gone off piste and some nice rutted turns. You can see he's definitely got the right body position, hasn't he? He just needs to lean that bike over a little bit more and maybe think about not breaking the turn. So the tyres, when he's cornering, they're gripping into the ground and not thinking about braking.
Yeah, I think a really good way to get that experience that Scott's mentioned is to actually look for another place to ride. Riding somewhere else always brings you on because you learn something new. But if you find a trail near you or a trail centre that's got some big berms where you can really start to get confident in the corners and getting that leaning over, feeling the tyres grip, then that will then translate back to your local trail and you'll find yourself getting much quicker.
Definitely. And the one final thing that I've got to add in, Aaron, is the fact that you could just relax a little bit more on the bike. You look a little bit tense, sort of not quite comfortable with the trail. You loosen off those shoulders, keep your core strong, and just move the hips a little bit more. You're going to be nailing those turns and carrying the speed that you're really looking for.
I can feel Aaron is quicker already.
He's stoked. Well, another show, another Ask GMBN done. And I've got to say, we want to keep getting those questions. So you can leave them in the comment section down below, you can hashtag us, or you can send it to ask@gmbn.com. And don't forget to include those correct me if I'm wrongs.
Yeah, and if you want to see more videos from us, make sure you subscribe. Here's the logo, you can hit that and it will do just the very thing.
Or you can click right here and you're going to see Cornering the Comprehensive Guide.
And if you click here, you'll see 5 body positioning mistakes.
And don't forget, there is one thing left to do. Give us that thumb up like if you enjoyed this one.
We like a thumb up, like.